Welcome to the Christian Life Coach Collective. I'm your host, Laura Malone, and you are in the right place if you want to make an impact in your life and the lives of the people around you. Maybe you even want to turn your gift of helping others into an income so you can support your family and your dreams and make a way for your calling. I'm here to guide you because you deserve to have encouragement and resources and somebody invested in you as you go invest yourself into everyone else. Let's dive into today's episode. I know from working at home for the past 20 years, really, with or without kids, it can be really difficult to get a lot done and feel like you have a sense of accomplishment at the end of the day. And especially when you just have so much on your plate and there's a lot going on at home. Maybe you have kids, maybe your spouse or your significant other, like somebody is in the space that you're working in. If there's a lot of sound and distraction and requirements like chores and other things that have to get done that take your attention, like the buzzer of the dryer going off or the kid that needs to get picked up in half an hour and you finally just sat down from doing everything else you had to do and you wanted to get to work and then your computer dings or your phone notifies you have to leave in 20 minutes to be where you need to be in 30 minutes. And it's disturbing. And you feel so unaccomplished when you lay your head down on the bed at night. And I have come across some things for myself that over 20 years, I can look back in hindsight and say, gosh, I wish I had known that. I wish I had known that that would have been good for me or it would have worked better in that season. So I was online somewhere doing something the other day and I saw this. It was like a test for, I don't know, ADHD or something like that. And I saw how they kind of broke down into 4 questions. You can take this quiz and know who you are and how you work best, and as if you have ADHD and whatever. And I was like, that is just not, as I was looking at it with ADHD brain, I was looking at it going, it's not comprehensive. Like there's not enough to that. And also you're trying to like label me an animal. It doesn't make any sense to me. I will never understand a test that tells me I'm some type of animal. So I kind of reworked it and asked myself certain questions, and then I expanded it in the multiple choice answers to ways that would work for other people. Like basically just things that you need to consider that I would ask you if I was coaching a client on how do you set yourself up to work in with the greatest results, the most satisfaction at the end of the day. Do you even know? Because if you don't know, and you're not even aware of what works best for you, then like how would you ever actually put it into place? You're not going to, right? So you can find this on the blog. I'm going to have all of this written down for you. And then I'll put the link to the blog post in the show notes. So it's all written out for you and you can actually just see it. But I will walk you through it here on the podcast. So first things first, what's the best for you the first thing in the morning, right? So I would say the most common answers when somebody gets out of bed are either quiet time of journaling, reading, prayer, centering your thoughts, whatever it is that works for you that you would call quiet time. Multiple choice B would be some form of exercise, whether that's take a walk, do some Pilates, do some stretching, jump on your Peloton, your treadmill, or even just using some weights in your back, in the garage, whatever that looks like for you. Do you want to jump out of bed and jump straight into some exercise? Do you want to eat first? Maybe your body says, nope, first thing is I need to eat or drink something. Grab coffee or tea or make a smoothie. Any type of food or drink consumption. Is that the first thing that you want? Or do you wake up and want to dive straight into the work? So consider that. What is the best for you first thing in the morning? And quiet time, exercise, food or drink, or straight into work. Every person's different. There's no wrong answer here. And then in each one of these, I would suggest that if you choose, basically choose all that apply, choose what applies to you, and then order it and say what I would do first and what I would do second, what doesn't matter to me, and maybe you don't exercise in the morning. Maybe you go to work, you work out in the evening, you go to an exercise class or something like that. Maybe you go quiet time, coffee, drive into work. Okay, that's a little bit that's kind of my way, and that is okay. And then other people dive straight into the work with a cup of coffee and then maybe exercise at lunch and do quiet time in the evening. Or one of those things aren't even part, or two of those things aren't even part of the way that they start in the morning. That's okay. The second question would be, how do you enjoy getting to work? That's the part of, okay, now I'm going to dive in. Do you want to do a brain dump or like some whiteboarding just to kind of get everything out of your head? This would look something like morning pages, if you're familiar with that, but doing it for work, creating a prioritized to-do list. Like, these are all the things I need to get done today. Label them 1, 2, 3, 4. Would you like to choose one priority and just go to work on that? Or do you like to tackle the most difficult tasks first? I think there's a book about that called like Eat Your Peas First or something. And again, if you can check all of that apply and then say maybe you like to do a brain dump first and then you want to go after the most difficult tasks and you don't really need lists of priorities, right? Maybe you go on the scale of difficulty. And then question number 3 is what helps you as you begin working? The concept that you're going to work towards at least partial completion of today's goals, or go to work, like do deep work for 3 hours, a set amount of time, do deep work for short intervals, kind of like using the Pomodoro technique where you set a timer for 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break and then you go 25 minutes, 5-minute break, something like that. Or would you like to work on lighter tasks and then build up to the more difficult ones? What's going to help you if you have a thought process of, I love getting at least some of all of these things done. I like deep work for a long period of time, deep work for a short period of time, or light tasks building into the more difficult tasks. Think about that. Question number 4, what visuals and atmosphere set you up for success in your workspace? So the things that you can see in your workspace. Would you like to make sure that you have a calendar or schedule either on your computer or on your desk written out, paper or something like that, where you can keep referring to it? Do you need that? Some jobs need that. Some don't. Would you like to have a to-do list or a list of tasks and priorities that are very clear and right there in front of you to see? Would you like to have what I call the legacy statement? What we do if I'm coaching a client that is looking at who they want to become, identity, purpose, and belonging coaching, a lot of times we'll go into a legacy statement or business coaching as well. And we create this legacy statement based on like, I am going to be who I am becoming. And this is the statement that I read every day or as consistently as I can to remind me of who I'm becoming and what I'm creating and the goals and the legacy that I want to create. It's kind of like the future you plan. Or would you love to have encouraging and inspiring reminders? All of those posters people put up like inspire, achieve, and then there's like a lion and a mountain and a quote. Or would it be helpful to have artwork that reminds you and encourages you, maybe Post-it notes or index cards with scripture on them? What kind of visuals are going to set you up for success so that when you're looking at them, they're helpful and not overwhelming and not demanding in your thought process when you see them, but instead they inspire you, right? The next question is, how do you describe your perfect workspace? Would it be distraction-free, like silence, no sounds, all the notifications off, the door is closed, right? Would it be some kind of background noise like the music, or maybe you have a Spotify playlist, my life coach playlist on Spotify, or some kind of white noise, or maybe even just the TV on in the background? Some people work best with something that they don't care about happening kind of in the background. Like I love working at a coffee shop. And so just having the background noise of people who don't need anything from me, I'm not responsible for them, but that noise is there actually helps me tune in better sometimes. And the TV is kind of like that. Would you like to have refreshments like coffee or tea or snacks or your water bottle? How does that create a better workspace for you? And then you like atmosphere. Do you like to have artwork, plants? Do you I love my curtains. I wanted my office to feel beautiful, but also creative. I wanted a creative workspace. So I was very specific about the color that I painted the walls and the curtains that I chose and the flowers on the wall behind me and the footstool. I was really specific about it. I do it all on a budget, but I didn't just buy what was cheap on a budget. I was intentional about what colors make me happy when I look around. What kind of designs with those colors make me feel creative? What looks comfortable and cozy and inviting and says, come, sit down and work here, right? That's important to me. The next question is, what's the most energizing way for you to take a break? So sometimes it's social connection, like making a phone call or popping into somebody else's space. Like my husband works in a different space in the house. And so sometimes I take a break just by going into his space and seeing what are you doing? And can you take a break? Because I just want to have a conversation outside of all the work that I'm doing. Disconnection is what I would call watching a video or scrolling on social media. I just want to disconnect. I want to be entertained to some degree. Or would it be to do a task that's unrelated to work, like go clean out your car, switch the laundry, go rake the yard because you can see from your workspace out the window that it needs to get done. So I'm just going to take 20 minutes. I'm going to go do that and I'll come back to this. Or would you like to take an active break and go stretch or walk or lift weights, something like that? The next question is, what's the best way to end your workday? Would you like to review the week's goals and accomplishments and wrap it up that way? Or end the day kind of accomplishing some light tasks in that last half an hour to an hour? How about crossing off all the things that you've accomplished and do a little victory dance? Yes, I got those things done. I would just want to celebrate that. And remember, I accomplished things because when I lay down at night, I'm going to think of all the things I didn't. And so I can say right now, yes, I did. And then maybe you want to make a list of tomorrow's priorities, just so tomorrow when you sit down at the desk or your workspace, you go, I get it. I know what I need to do. Again, you can kind of choose all of these that apply. There's not one right answer. This is what works best for you. This also applies if you don't work at home. All of this applies no matter what you do. Even if you don't have a job, how do you function best at home? Considering all of these things and thinking about essentially your own self-care during the day, considering what works best for me to be productive, successful, and feel satisfied at the end of the day that I have actually accomplished things. Even when I wasn't working full-time at home, but I had kids and we were homeschooling, even all of these questions would have helped me be more aware of the information that I needed to know, the things I needed to consider to make my living space, my workspace as a mom and a homeschooler more productive and help me go, wow, okay, I really did get things done. And then I want you to think about, is there anything that you know that actually works against you and works against a successful workday in any of these categories? Anything that's that hinders you from feeling a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment, productivity and joy at the end of the day, right? So maybe that's like, there's just too many people who wander in and out of my workspace, or there's too many repetitive noises. I don't have a lot of clarity about my schedule, my calendar, things like that. If you know that, then you can actually do the work to resolve it, right? So again, I know a lot of people probably were hoping that I'd give you a quiz where it's like, if I pick one of these and we add it all up, then yeah, your certain answers are going to be identified like as a particular avatar. You're going to be, you are a cheetah, or you are Captain America at work, whatever. Or which princess are you from Disney movies? Well, it doesn't work that way. It can't work that way. Those quizzes don't know anything about you. They're fun, but they're not always fruitful. Instead, I simply encourage you to look at your answers and put them in place so that they work for you. And just take responsibility for showing up for yourself and showing up for success and undergirding yourself, right? Do what works, cut out what doesn't. If there's something you simply can't cut out, like children who wake up from naps too early, then do some experimenting and find something that does work for you. But most importantly, you have to have a flexible mindset that allows you to just shift as you go throughout the day. And think semper gumby. It means always flexible. In Greek, yeah, you could think of like the little Gumby guy from back in the day if you're old enough to remember that. And semper gumby will serve you well if you lean in with purpose and clarity, but allow for the shifts as the day goes, and don't allow them to throw you off your game with things like offense and irritation and disappointment because it didn't go the way that you planned it. It's never going to go the way you plan it. Remember, we're choosing expectancy, that things are going to turn out good, instead of expectation that they're supposed to turn out exactly the way I said and dreamed and thought that they would. That always leads to disappointment. We don't operate from that place. It's not helpful. It's not healthy. So if you chose more than one option for any of these questions, I want you to think about the order that you would do them in for best results, and then even think about some of the answers, how they would work best for days that are a little busier, work best for days that are a little calmer, right? Like consider the type of days that you have, the situations and things going on in your life, the other responsibilities, and consider maybe one answer is better for a certain day and type of situation or season that you're in, and a different answer is good for when everybody's gone and you really have like 4 to 5 hours alone to work. Maybe it's a different answer. If you're aware of that and you take note of it, then you can look at it and refer to that and go, oh, today's a day for that. I can dive deep into work. And that's evident in question number 1, which asks, what's the best way for you to start your day? Remember, we were talking about if you answer quiet time, exercise, and breakfast, think about the order you would do them in. And if you want to have quiet time first, then take a walk and then eat breakfast and then dive into work. Or maybe you dive into exercise first, make a smoothie, sit down at your workspace, have quiet time for 30 minutes, make a cup of coffee, right? It's just so individual. And one thing I know is that if you can identify what you really want for your workday, then you can make decisions about how it will go ahead of time with your prefrontal cortex instead of that toddler brain that is going to scream at you. And so it's going to help you make commitments to yourself and build habits that are going to be helpful and productive for you. So when your toddler brain is screaming, I just want to stay in bed, you can't make me, you can respond with your adult brain and say, this is just what we do. Go on now with your bad self, you can do this. It's not an argument because your grown-up brain is not moved by that toddler's complaints. It can stand firm on the decision that was made days or months or years ago of this is who we are. This is how we do things. So if you have a lot of thoughts like, my life will never have a structure like this because it's never worked out for me before, or I don't like being trapped in formulas like this that you're trying to make me create, Laura, or my kids will never go for this. Nobody will ever help me out. I want to remind you Like all of those things are just thoughts that you're having. It doesn't make them facts. You have the power to change your thoughts and try something different. And try out these thoughts once or twice, and then just see if they help you feel differently and find hope and possibility. Like it's okay to experiment. You are in a different season now than you ever were before. Tomorrow and today are different than yesterday. Tomorrow's going to be different than today. It's going to be okay. So here's a few thoughts you can just try out. It hasn't worked before, but I'm willing to give it a shot again. I'm in a new season, and maybe knowing what I know now will help me be more successful in setting up a structure like this for myself and just being aware of it. A next thought could be I could teach my family to respect my boundaries if I set them. And I can teach myself to hold the boundaries and gently remind my family that what I'm doing really matters to me, and I can teach them how to treat me. Another thought would be something about I'm not trapping myself by creating a flow of how my day could go. I'm just giving myself more space to roam because of the freedom I'm creating when I get so much done inside this framework that I choose, because nobody is actually forcing me to do this. I just want you to have, if you have any resistance to becoming aware and trying to create a flow to your day, then I want you to think new thoughts. You can just try on one of these thoughts or create your own and say, what if, or maybe if I, or, I possibly could, and just try some things out. And maybe you are different than you were. Maybe you can do different things than you've done. Maybe the people in your life will help you differently today than the way that you felt like they didn't help you in the past. What if there's hope and possibility for you to be successful? What if you're so believing that you have not been successful and you haven't accomplished a lot and you're never going to be different? What if that's not true? What if that's not a fact? What if that's just something going through your paradigm that you've thought so often that it's become your belief system and the storyline that you're living from? But if you pearl that and you go, my paradigm makes me feel like ashamed or frustrated, and that causes me to withdraw and shut down and close my computer and stop trying. And the results I get from that are like nothing. I'm just creating no results that I really want. And if I keep doing that over time, it's going to culminate in the legacy of 10 years from now. I'm not where I am today. I'm backwards. I took 5 years off because I'm not doing anything to work towards my goals, my dreams, reach anything, accomplish things. And I'm going to be dissatisfied, disappointed, and say, gosh, I wish I had just started that one day. So I encourage you, step into this. And if you want to get coached, let's book a session. I can coach you through this and actually help you with your mindset, create a strategy, work through this so that whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you have clarity about it. We create a strategy towards it, and you have accountability so that you're actually reaching your dreams, starting your business, having better communication with your kids, your parents, your husband, your wife, whatever, or you're getting promoted, or you're getting the job that you have always dreamed of having. Whatever the thing is, if you can decide that you would invest in yourself, that you are worth it, because you are 100% right now worthy of putting in the time and the energy to help you do what you say you want to do, to have true goals where what you say you want to do is actually what you're doing. Then coaching, that's what coaching is there for. It's such a safe, non-judgmental space where you can just process it and toss that into, every week or every other week where you know that you have somebody to walk that out with you and call you higher. Then go to the show notes, book a session or a package, and let's get it done, okay? All right, bless you, friends. Talk to you next time. And I hope that your day is productive, fulfilling, satisfying, and completely jam-packed with joy. If you'd like to work with me and get coaching, become a coach, or start a coaching business, check out all the courses and coaching I offer at sterlingandstonementoring.com, or you can scroll through the show notes to find all the links that you need. I pray that your day will be full of joy, hope, transformation, and the presence of God.